our generation, we pride ourselves in our cars, in our designer suits, in our private jets. Whereas if you look at the apostles, what they boasted about were their scars, not what they had. Check the life of Paul. You will not see Paul boasting about anything he had. All of the times Paul boasted, he boasted of his sufferings. He said, many times I was beaten with iron rod. He said, many times I was left in the sea for 24 hours. In prisons many times. In hunger many times. Destitute many times. Those were the things Paul would boast about. Our generation, our boast is in how many cars we have packed in our garage. Our boast is in how many nations we've traveled. And indirectly we are discipling a generation. Look at the number of young people flooding the ministry space. Young men still battling with lust, still battling with all manner of appetites, are on the ministry platform. And the reason they came is because of what was advertised. We showed them cars, we showed them jets, we showed them buildings, we showed them the fame. It was Jesus that helped me. See, I am telling you these things because I was there as a young man. If Jesus did not help me, I would have been fake. Oh, I know. Because my motivation for ministry then was fame, cars, jets. I didn't have a life with God. I did not. In our generation, we are the ones running after God. We want to do ministry. Whereas if you consult with the elders, they will tell you that in their day, when God calls a man, the man is running. The man doesn't want to do it. God will have to employ his mighty hand and insist and spoil every other thing that man wants to do, just to let the man know that, you see, at this point you can't go anywhere. You are left with one option and one option alone, and it is to serve my will. So you find them coming back to him with tears because they have been broken. Initially they didn't want to do it, but my generation, we are the ones looking for God. God, are there? Have we preached? So even the ones God has not called, they are into ministry. The ones God did not even flash, they are called God. Either way, there should be a call. If you don't call me, I call you. Somebody must call somebody. But look at the church in Acts of the Apostles. They were potent. They were not large as we are today, but their prayers, are you with me? Their prayer could literally shake the foundation of a building. That thing was not in the spirit, it was literal. The building shook. Today we gather in camps, we gather in millions, and our prayers cannot displace the peace in the territory. Because we have a bunch of dysfunctional human beings calling upon the name of the God of Jacob. You stop seeing, that's why you stop being hungry. In case you are asking, what happened to my hunger? Your eyes were closed, or your eyes started seeing the wrong things. Hear me? Your eyes started looking at the wrong things. Because listen, whatever you see, you will become hungry for. Everybody? Yes. You started looking at the people that have gotten married, and so your goal now became marriage. I must get it by all means. You started looking at the people who have built houses, who are driving cars, and that became your motivation. Me too, I must ride a car. Umbra Santombe. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18, Paul tells us, listen, this is a principle of life. He says, we all with open face beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. What happens to us? What happens? We are changed into what? Into the same image. You are changed into what you saw. So if you are not being changed, you are not seeing anything. And the change is orchestrated by the Spirit of the living God. Listen. Oh, have you seen the life of Paul? Read the book of Acts. You realize that encounter that Paul had with Jesus on his way to Damascus, Paul never forgot it. Yes. He recounted the story, up to 3 times. And if you are keen, you realize that each time he mentioned that story, there was something more added to it. So you will hear him say, "Oh Agrippa, I was not disobedient. I was not disobedient to the heavenly vision. It was that vision that he saw that broke his heart, and Paul could not stay in the city center. He went to the wilderness of Arabia and was there with this one that he has met for 3 years, 6 months. I see what a man does after having an encounter. You had your own, and we saw you on Facebook. Paul had his own. He went to the wilderness to hide, and incubate that which he saw, and consolidate that which has, oh my goodness. And it was in that wilderness that Jesus began to give him in plain language what he now calls my gospel. You will hear him tell those guys in Galatia, he said, the gospel that was preached by me, he said, I did not learn it from a man, I didn't receive it I wasn't taught by a man, I didn't receive it from a man. He said, I received it from the Lord Jesus. From the Lord Jesus. Have you wondered? He was not with Jesus in the day Jesus instituted the Passover, the communion. But he was the only apostle that wrote about it. Kabosa. How? And he's giving us graphic imagery. He said, in that night in which he was betrayed, Paul, you were not around the scene. Who told you? When he spent time with him, Jesus had to give him the gospel. Why do you think Paul would be so bold in telling those guys in Galatia that even if an angel, are you with me, or us, even if any of us comes back to you and we preach another gospel other than this one that I've preached to you, let that person be accursed? Why do you think Paul will be so bold to make such a statement implicating angels? Because the one that handed the gospel to him, are you with me? The angels worship him. And it was hunger that drove him to the wilderness of Arabia. He just saw this man on his way to Damascus, and the brilliance, the light with which he appeared was enough to blind him. So even after Paul regained his sight, he wanted to know this monarch. He wanted to know this man. What kind of a being is this? And so he said, no, if I stay in the city, I will get distracted. He packed his bags and navigated to the wilderness of Arabia and stayed there. No distraction, no social media, no party. Just me and God. Hunger. This is what hunger did to a man. What did God show you that you forgot? What did God tell you that you forgot? That means, hey, you cannot stand side by side with men like Simeon in Luke chapter 2. Only God knows at what age God came to Simeon and told him that your eyes will not see death until you see the salvation of Israel. Only God knows at what age. And by this time, Simeon was well stricken in age. He was old. All of his mates had died. Even Simeon was tired of life. He too was praying to die. But something he saw had implicated him. He could not die. So every single day, Simeon will navigate to the temple in old age, struggling under the affliction of old age, going to the temple just to check whether this could be that day, whether this could be the day where I will finally have my passport to die. Until one day, we are told that he came into the temple by the Spirit. And when he saw Jesus, you remember his first prayer? He said, aha, alas, now Lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, because my eyes have seen the salvation that you promised. Are you with me? A light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of thy people Israel. This is the reason I was still alive. Some of you, what God told you, it is not up to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month. You have forgotten. You can't even remember. You can't even remember. Whereas the day he told you, hey, come and see yourself now at the place of prayer. You prayed as if you were about to die. But now 1 week later, we can't see that energy. You know why? You stopped seeing.